Hello YouTube, it's George here with another review on one of my collections. And today we're talking about the Benchmade 581 Barrage. As you can see, I think it's a very great tactical knife. In terms of EDC use, I think it's a bit too heavy. It's got excellent ergonomics. Otherwise, design, quality, material, deployment, I think the knife is very excellent. So you can find all of these details in my video description. Now I will talk about the positive and negative points of this knife. For a start, this is actually an assisted opening knife. So what that means is it's got the spring loaded into the pivot system, which allows the knife to spring out by itself once you make it start to open. So slide the blade out a little bit and it will bring out the knife. So that's very fast. Otherwise you get the m390 steel, which is also very well known for its ability to fight rust, and it's got very good edge retention. The knife has a very good ergonomics. As you can see, it's a very thick handle comparing with some of the other models I have. And here comes the Spectacle paramilitary. So it's thicker than both of them. Now you also have an extra security system, which is a backup lock in here. So you can push this button, or basically make unlocking the knife pretty much impossible. As you can see, this pin will stop you from accidentally sliding the switch. So the knife now is securely closed. And you have also a very strong design. If you look at the liners on this knife, it's actually thicker than the liners on the Benchmade 940. Slightly thicker. The liner goes all the way from one end to another. So steel liners, and you have the bolsters, which make the knife a little bit stronger. The quality on this knife is excellent. There's nothing you can say about it. I think Benchmade is well known for its quality. All the cut on the steel is there's no rough surface, and it's all smooth. If you hold this knife against the light, you can see almost no slots in between of the back spacer and the liner. So that's very excellent. This is almost a full flat grind on the knife. As you can see, it's almost probably 90% full flat grind. So I like full flat grind because in my opinion it makes the knife a bit sharper and also reduces unnecessary weight. I think that's the way to go. Also, you have a pointy tip for tactical use in terms of thrust attack or anything. That will come in very handy. They've actually hollowed out the liners here. Shine a bit of light, and you can see there's a circle-shaped drill outs on both sides. So that reduces the weight for this knife. Although I think they could have made the circle a bit bigger, reduce more weight. But I think they are trying to find a balance between strength and also weight reduction. So I think what they did is pretty good. I have no complaints. The knife is very sharp. I'll just do a very brief cutting test. Impeccable. Okay, so I have to mention that because my experience with other Benchmates I've got, for example the 940, as you can see, the grind on this knife is actually not symmetrical. Like this side is much less grinded than the other, whereas this knife here has the same grind on both sides. So I'm quite happy with the quality of this knife. So far, it's the best that Benchmade has offered to me. Otherwise, you have a two sides pocket clip option, left and right. You don't have the tip up carry option. However, I mean you don't have the tip down carry option. However, I think there's no point for a normal knife like this. Also, a tip down option is not quite useful in here because of the locking mechanism here is kind of in a way. So no problem there. Otherwise, there are a couple of negative points I'd like to mention about the knife. For a start, the knife's a little bit heavy, 5.2 ounces. Comparing with knife of this size, like Endura, which is 3.4, this is almost twice as much. So I think definitely not an EDC knife. I would not recommend it for EDC. I think if you wanted to use it as a self-defense weapon, well, you know, knock yourself out. It's a pretty good design, but not for EDC. It's quite heavy. The safety mechanism here, although it's quite ensuring, but really, when you do have the safety on, it takes very much time to actually access the knife. You might as well just, in that case, get a manual start knife, which after the training you can just get it the same, get it up to speed. Same thing can be said about the paramilitary tool, which is also very fast if you practice. So I think in that sense, the safety is a little bit redundant, a little bit. Now there's not really jimping anywhere except here, which is still, as you can imagine, that's aluminum surface, and all they did is put little cutout on the aluminum, so you don't get very much grip in here. So that's rather decorative. The only thing, and also here, it's actually not jimping. It's also quite a smooth surface. So the only thing that will actually prevent your hand from slipping when you use this knife is in fact the shape of the handle. It's narrowing here and narrowing here. So basically you can grab on the body of the handle and provides you a reasonably good secure grip, and also a bit of finger ramping here. So the knife is okay even without the jimping. If you compare the texture of this G10 here, which is much like a wooden styled finish, I'll say, and the Spyderco counterpart, which is also G10, the Spyderco has a lot of jimping, and you can feel like it's like a sawtooth, whereas this one is like a furniture surface. So both G10 but different textures. Now, a couple of points I summarized. Also, servicing this knife, I can imagine it's going to be a pain, because right now you have four screws on each side, and you can imagine I can assure you that there's more screws underneath the G10 and the aluminum as well. So you got more screws, and you get the extra safety mechanism, the spring inside here, so that's a whole lot of parts. And the knife is obviously not an open construction, so if you wanted to actually have a thorough clean, you have to take it apart, and this knife will have you like probably 30 different parts, and servicing it won't be easy. A couple of positive things I can tell you based on my speculation. So for a start, it's got a reasonably wide blade. If you compare it with its counterpart, for example the 940, it's wider than the 940. It's yeah. It's very similar in a way. It's similar to the spectacle Swiss. So what happens is I think recently I started sharpening my knives, and I find wider blades actually a little bit easier to sharpen given the thumb stud. So I think it's probably a bit easier to sharpen this knife than, say, for example, the 940, and also they've made this unique shaped grind. I think it's probably also going to help you a little bit when you're sharpening it. So that's just my opinion. You have actually this knife is reasonably priced. I was surprised it's actually costing me a little bit about the same price to the 940, and thinking that the 940 is actually a manual start knife. I thought this knife would be way more expensive, but it's actually not. And you also have the thumb stud well hidden close to the handle. As you can see, I mentioned this is because I think if you keep the knife closed in your pocket, and I think there's a very slight chance this knife will be accidentally deployed. I mean, primary reason of accidental deployment, I think it's probably due to maybe a scratch or something. But as you can see, the handle is a lot thicker than the width of the thumb stud, and it's very close. Like you can almost nothing could really get in its way. And also another thing is if you have the knife or you look closely, the knife doesn't actually deploy unless you push the thumb stud reasonably far enough. So that's also a little bit of safety consideration. I think it's a very well designed knife. Though the jimping is not very good on this knife, I think under normal condition you'd have enough grip to use it due to the shape of the handle and everything. Reverse grip, also quite comfortable. There's nothing you can say bad about it. So a couple of negative points as well. The spring is reasonably strong, so you kind of have to be careful when you deploy the knife. Although the designer came up with these grooves here, which you can place your fingers to secure the knife before you deploy it. So there's not too much problem as long as you know it's a spring-loaded knife and you'll be careful. I think the spring may lose tension in time if you keep it closed for too long. So definitely you don't want to leave this knife closed when you're storing it. Outline of this blade I need to mention. As you can see, in a closed position, the back of the blade is actually very close to the edge of the handle, and even in the open position, similar things happening here. So what happens is that if you grease the knife, if you lubricate the knife, you are going to lose the lubrication in time, because if you hold the knife like that, a lot of times you can just have oil running down your fingers. That's probably not too big an issue unless the oil may actually cause a little bit of slipperage, which is on a knife that doesn't have too much jimping on it, something you need to consider. That's pretty much everything I need to say about the knife. It's a great knife, and I think you could definitely get one of these to add it in your collection. Not recommended for EDC use, tactical use, excellent. So that's the end of my review. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.